Good morning. Good morning to all of you out there. I'm Cito Beltran, and you are watching the program Agenda on Signal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as the Facebook platform of One News PH and on YouTube. Okay, now it's May 26th, Tuesday, and things are beginning to become hopeful as stock is beginning to take life, as they say. It's not just talk. It seems that there are votes behind it, that we may soon shift from MECQ to GCQ or MGCQ. All my friends are only thinking of barbecue. Yeah, I know it's corny, but that's the reality there. Everybody seems to be talking about what the first thing they're going to do when the quarantines are lifted. Some want to go to the beach. Some want to go to their favorite tourist destination, but it's not going to be that simple. And later in the program, we hope to speak with an Undersecretary of the Department of Tourism to find out what's in store for all of us who are rip-roaring to get to the beach or go to our favorite tourist destinations. In the meantime, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star, and that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like today, just for you who are wondering or who haven't seen a newspaper in quite a while. The headlines are: the government gives go signal to the distribution of the second tranche of social amelioration program. Malacanang reports that the Executive Secretary Salvador Bejaldea has issued a memorandum that enumerates the beneficiaries of the second wave of the cash aid. 12 million beneficiaries from the first tranche of SAP will again be part of the second tranche. It's their part two. Aside from them, 5 million more households will also be added to the list of the beneficiaries. Most of these families are those who live in areas under enhanced community quarantine or ECQ or modified ECQ. Nonetheless, households who are in general quarantine areas may still receive cash assistance if deemed severely affected. The Social Amelioration Program is proving to be a crucial government program as the number of Filipino workers losing their incomes or jobs continue to rise. The data from the Labor Department shows that as of May 23, the total number of displaced workers in the country has reached over 2.7 million. Aside from that, DOLE has also recorded over 102,000 commercial establishments that have either closed or adopted flexible working arrangements, which also affects workers' income. The National Capital Region accounted for the biggest number of displaced workers at more than 896,000, followed by Central Luzon and Calabar Zone with almost 300,000 displaced workers each. So, to bring back more jobs, Trade Secretary Mon Lopez and COVID-19 Task Force Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr. are set to make recommendations on guidelines for the reopening of barber shops, salons, and dine-in restaurants. Lopez said here on the program yesterday that they are now preparing the policy for reopening shops. The Trade Department has also released a statement that a system of accreditation or an audit procedure will be set in place for reopening these stores. Last Sunday, both Lopez and Galvez took part in an inspection as barber shops, salons, and restaurants gave a demonstration on how they can resume operations while still observing health protocols such as social distancing. 14 out of 17 Metro Manila mayors favor a shift to general community quarantine or GCQ come June 1st. That is from Parañaque City Mayor Edwin Olivares, who's also the chairman of the Metro Manila Council, who said that mayors agreed with him that extending the modified ECQ beyond May can have severe economic effects. And while the majority of the mayors prefer declaring GCQ, they also agreed that all health standards and protocols must still be strictly enforced. Okay, so there you go. We are all hoping that the GCQ will come on June 1, but that all depends on the final vote at the IATF. As I understand, there was either a meeting last night or that meeting tonight with the MMDA, MMC Council, the Metro Manila Council of Mayors, who will then craft their proposal to the IATF, and that along with other data from doctors, health experts, and the executive department will determine if we are going to go to GCQ on June 1. The question is, if we go to GCQ on June 1, is it safe to go out? Because it seems there's a lot of concern globally, even in countries, in places where they've tried to normalize, people are still saying, no thanks, we're happy to stay home because we don't know if it's safe. So let's go to our first guest. I hope he's there already. He is the chief of the University of Santo Tomas Hospital Pediatrics Infectious Disease Department, Dr. Benjamin Ko, and he is also an active consultant of the Asian Hospital and Medical Center and Cardinal Santos Medical Center and UST Hospital. Dr. Ko, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Cito. Yes.
I'm wondering how you are going to work as a doctor under the new normal, because from what I understand from the Hospital Association of the Philippines, or Philippine Hospital Association, iba na. Everything is going to be by appointment. There will be social distancing. There will be PPEs, etc. It's almost like in a alien movie where we are fighting zombies. And how are you doctors going to function?
Well, I guess that's the easier part with respect to the doctors. I gave a webinar about 2 weeks ago on setting up clinic after the quarantine or during the quarantine period, because we really do have to see patients. So what we normally do now is that we ask patients to come in only by appointment. So we do two things. No, one is the sick patients. We do telemedicine. We do telehealth. So I'm sure you've heard about it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of telehealth being pushed nowadays, and that's because in reality, at least 50 to 75% of the patients can be diagnosed over what we're like, just what we're doing right now. History taking, appropriate physical examination is the only one that we're probably missing on having to auscultate. But for chronic patients, this is a way to go. I don't have to see you every day, and you don't need to go to the hospital. It's for us pediatricians, what we do now is we see the well babies first. So we see well patients ahead, those that require immunization, those that have catch-up immunizations. And then what we also do is we forward them a health declaration slip. That means that we triage them from the get-go. Send it by email, ask them to fill it up, and see if they've been sick in the past 14 days. And that's the golden rule. I mean, Tony Dans came out with one article saying that the 14 days rule is the best way to evaluate your patients if they are infectious or non-infectious, if they've been sick or not been sick. And that's cheaper than doing other tests.
Okay. Now, you've also gained popularity, or I don't know if it's popularity or
Variety.
notoriety, for being one of the few experts who really studies the data that we are collecting as far as COVID-19 is concerned. And yesterday was the highest recorded number of COVID-19 positives for quite some time. We were all under the impression dapat pababa na ng pababa. But yesterday there was a rise again, and there have been like blips along the way. And people are like asking, ano ba talaga, Doc? Are we flattening the curve? Are we going down, etc.? Or is this because there's now more testing?
Well, you answered the question to the point that there is more testing. So that is one of the major factors in increasing the cases. You have to remember that once we do more testing, definitely you will be picking up a couple more positives along the way. So if the demand there is for expanded testing, don't be surprised that you will get more positives as we go along. Because if in reality the positive rate is, let's say for granted, 5% to 7% out of so many people that you test. If we do 100,000 tests, then you will definitely get at least 5,000 cases to 7,000 cases that will be positive. So the more tests we do, then the more positive patients we probably will get. Until we have reached a point wherein we have tested probably a great chunk of patients, then that begins to go down. I mean, there's no more, nobody will test positive anymore. So the more we test eventually, then the probability of somebody testing positive will eventually come down.
Okay, now here's where things get confused, Doc, because there at least the reports, I can't say in particular who, okay, the reports have indicated that there is a bigger population of people who are mildly affected but positive. Now you are doing widespread testing or whatever they want to call it. Basta nagte-test na tayo, so you're saying logically we will find more people who have COVID-19 virus. Now the question is, are these all bad? I don't know what to call them. Are they all categorized as bad news? Na are they contagious? Are they non-contagious? Should we be worried as the numbers rise? I don't know what to make of it, Dr. Ko.
Well, let me try to put my thoughts together. You asked too many questions.
Confused kasi.
Yeah, well, sige, let me try to make it simple, and I hope I can make it simple. Number one, when we do more testing, it does not necessarily, if we okay, sige, let me go. We backtrack about 1.5 months to 2 months ago. When we backtrack 1.5 months to 2 months ago, we were seeing less tests compared to what we were seeing today. Agree?
Agree.
Everybody agrees. Okay. When we backtrack to 2 months ago and we were seeing less patients, we were doing less tests, we were seeing more positive cases compared to what we're seeing today. We were only doing tests for those that were critically ill, those that had very severe infections, those that were that fulfilled the criteria of being very sick. Okay? So that means that now what we're doing is a different story. We do expanded testing, which means that I do contact tracing as well.
Because 1 month ago, 1.5 months ago, we were simply trying to determine if these sick people in our hospitals are really sick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you are doing testing to
in the
find out
community, yes.
in the community.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now, if for example, I get exposed to somebody who is positive, uh, then I become, by default, that means that I probably may have gotten infected. So I
Mm.
get tested as well. So now you have one whole group of asymptomatics or pre-symptomatics. And these are patients that are, especially the pre-symptomatics. Now let's remove the asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means they will never have symptoms from the day one until the day end of the illness. Kaya nga tawag asymptomatic, no
Mm.
symptoms. But the
Okay.
pre-symptomatics will probably be ill about 3 to 5 days after they've been tested, which means that most of these patients are probably milder now. And that's
Mm.
that's actually the global picture. That most of the patients who have SARS-CoV-2, not COVID-19, COVID-19 is the disease, SARS-CoV-2 is the virus. That
Mm.
most patients who have SARS-CoV-2 will present in a mild manner. Their clinical presentation will usually be mild, but yes, they are infectious. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the bothersome part of the data. You see, there are two parameters that need to go down. One is death. We've
Okay.
done that. Okay?
Yeah.
That means that we now take a trajectory wherein the number of deaths have declined to single digits. That's the good news.
How
That's
how
the,
did how did you doctors achieve that? Kasi I think that's the game changer that we are preventing deaths. Is it because patients are now being seen earlier in the case, or because you guys have come up with the superior drugs and treatment?
No, because patients are being seen earlier, and those that are positive are diagnosed earlier, and they don't come in critically ill already. You get my
Mm,
point? They're not
yeah.
the very sick patients. Second is the ECQ really helped. Without the
Mm,
ECQ, this would have been pandemonium.
okay.
So
Parang
that,
parang Brazil.
yeah, this ECQ, putting us in the confines of our home, have helped prevent the spread of this disproportionately to more than what we could handle. And I
Mm,
think that's where the good, no, I can't say the beauty, no, the good of the ECQ came in. I just feel that it was extended a little longer. We have the longest ECQ, GCQ, MECQ, and whatever, like barbecue that you wanted to say, no? We have
yeah.
the longest in the world, actually. This
Correct.
is the longest lockdown in any part of the world. But we'll have to understand also the fact that, like I said, we go back to the two. No? The first parameter is death. The second
Okay.
parameter are cases. So we've bent the curve on deaths. So we've seen single digits for the last several weeks. There will be a day probably we have 11, we have 9, and so on and so forth. We have 12, but that's nothing compared to the 30, 20, the stupendous numbers that we, to us that's stupendous already, that we see.
Mm,
Other countries see hundreds and
yeah.
thousands of deaths daily. Secondly, is we need to bend the curve on cases because we cannot keep a plateau. We cannot, because the number of cases, as long as there are, will mean that there is still transmission in the community. The
Mm,
number of cases need to go down. I'm not saying that it has to disappear, because this is something that will be with us for the rest of our lives for a while, but it needs to go down. And that's where uh, the personal social responsibility of each and every Filipino comes into play. That we need to be made aware of uh, after the quarantine. We need to make sure that we practice social distancing, hand hygiene. Uh, if if you have respiratory symptoms or you have any of these symptoms, go see a doctor immediately, and don't go out of the house when you're sick, and so on and so forth. So
yeah,
that's personal
same.
already.
Okay, same thing like nung nagkaroon tayo ng dengue outbreak, the minute someone had the fever, nagpapa-lab test na kaagad tayo just to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've said we cannot just have a plateau. we need to bend the curve also on the number of cases.
Yes.
But as you fully know, we are now all aspiring to go into GCQ and eventually the no more quarantine. Now, I've always said let's not infantilize the population. We can all be responsible citizens if we are trained, educated. But what are your misgivings at this point? Because earlier you said medyo humaba yata itong quarantine natin, but in the same breath, you also said that it helped. What are your concerns or thoughts of the shift from MECQ to GCQ? What are you expecting?
Well, I guess that's an economic decision already. The Filipinos are really burdened, and since we have decreased, we have bet somehow one parameter, and we have plateaued on another parameter. Then I suppose we should be able to go into generalized community quarantine without having to burden the the current burdened economic situation that we already have. Um, I guess where I'm coming from is I feel that we could have done a little better. And when I say when we could have done a little better, this is a personal take, no?
Okay.
And when I say we could have done a little better, I look at the Metro Manila or the National Capital Region as the most densely populated area in the country. We have 13 million people on 600 square kilometers of land. I mean,
Mhm.
if you look at Cebu, they also have a problem. But that's 7.5 million people on what? 16,000 square kilometers of land
Mhm.
compared to Metro Manila. So we really are densely populated. And we have so many informal settlers. We have one informal settler that gets sick. What do you do with them? Where do we put them? And if you
Mhm.
look at the overall um, Ligtas COVID facilities, that the National Capital Region has the least number of um, Ligtas COVID facilities. These are quarantine and isolation
Yeah.
facilities. We have 9,000 cases. Let's take for granted 6,000 of them are still active. We only have, what, 2,000 quarantine beds. Where do you
Mhm.
put the rest of the 4,000? Region 1 has only 64 cases, and yet they have a quarantine bed capacity of 8,000.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying, therefore, is I wish that if 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 we step down to GCQ, each and every local government unit take responsibility of every case that they have in their community. They should be
Mm.
prepared for this because hindi mo naman pwedeng ilagay sa Manila yung nakatira sa Las Piñas. Hindi mo rin
Mhm.
naman pwedeng ilagay. Do you get my logic? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which means that they should be prepared, and it depends on each city. Like for example, if you're looking at Parañaque has what 600 cases, so they should capacitate themselves to have a quarantine facility twice that number, or at
Okay.
least approximate that number.
So at the end of the day, let's just prepare locally for
Yes,
the probability. You're
yes,
not being a prophet of doom, but there is a probability that there would be cases. And in the event that there is a spike of cases, not because we are being careless, but by the sheer statistical probability. Dahil sa dami ng tao, let's make sure that each and every barangay, town, city has the responsibility and capability to deal with those medical cases.
yes. We need actually, these mild cases will not require uh, intensive care, or they're not going to require hospitalization. They just
Mm-hmm.
need to get isolated because
Mm-hmm.
most of the mild cases will run its course. When I say
Mm-hmm.
it runs its course, they have cough, colds, fever, probably a little shortness of breath, but they will eventually get better. They will eventually get
Usually,
better
usually in 11
after,
days, right?
yes, in around a week. you will see
Mhm.
the peak, and then in 11 days they're better, and at least they're confined. They're not there spreading the infection all around, and we need to dip these cases. It's an all-out effort by each and every one of us, especially in the local governments. I know we have a lot of informal settlers in each and every local government unit, in all the 17 cities we have in Metro Manila. And just giving them cash dole outs or food and other financial assistance is not the solution to
Mhm.
addressing this pandemic. Nobody is ever prepared for it, but we
I,
have learned our lesson in the last 75 days
yeah.
that this is the way to go.
And I think you'll agree that at the end of the day, the Philippines might actually get passing marks in how we manage to survive, given that we are a third world country, our population density, the state of our medical facilities, and yet we might just actually graduate with passing marks. Well, I do hope you will allow us to continue getting in touch with you, Dr. Ko, because I still have a ton of questions to ask you regarding other subject matters, like the analysis of the dead people, the causes of death, the comorbidities, the age bracket, etc. But we'll save it for another day. I know you have to do your rounds, and I also have my other guests. So thank you very much, Dr. Ko, and please do stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and God bless you, sir.
Maraming salamat din po.
Okay, that's Dr. Benjamin Ko of the UST, Chief of Pediatrics Infectious Disease Department. Now we'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we go to our next guest here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on Agenda. Okay, with slight delay there, we are back here on Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran. You are watching us on uh, Signal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as the Facebook platform of One News PH and on YouTube. You'll have to excuse me. Yeah, kind of having a no, 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 no. I don't have COVID-19. I have never left the house. Okay, I'm just having a itchy throat here from all the carpentry work I'm doing on the side. In any case, let's go to our next guest. We have with us a congressman from the third district of Pampanga, and the reason why we've invited him on the show is he has expressed dissent to implementing face-to-face classes as well as conducting lessons through telecommunications. We have with us Representative Aurelio Dong Gonzales. Good morning, Mr. Congressman.
Good morning, Cito. Good morning to our televiewers and to our listeners. Thank you for having me, Cito.
Okay, Congressman, you are quoted, or my team is saying that you are opposed to face-to-face education and tele-education. And may we know what your position is regarding back to school moves for DepEd and other schools?
Sito, as I've said, my resolution 876 is no vaccine, is no classes. And last night, siguro we heard the president sa ulat ng bayan niya, reporting to the people, no bakuna, wala munang pasok. So your question is, I signified and I filed that resolution because my fear sa ating mga estudyante from elementary, college, and other activities and other test the students. I am not amenable kung papasok po sila na hindi sila safe sa ating eskwelahan. So, you know, Sito, we have 27 million plus students and pupils, and 3 million college, and practically we have 30 million plus. So kung magbubukas po tayo ng classes sa August 24, palagay po hindi po tayo ready for that.
Okay, si Congressman Roman Romulo was on our show yesterday at napag-usapan namin yung gap year kasi sinasabi ko nga na ako nung high school ako, fourth year, biglang nag-martial law, na-operahan ako, I had to give up my fourth year, took it a second time, and in college, I had the equivalent of a gap year, 2 SEM. Now, and I don't see any permanent damage from it. Now, are you proposing a gap year muna for the entire education system? Or parang yung sa healthcare natin, kinwarantin muna natin para makabangon yung healthcare natin?
Alam mo, Sito, I know your family. Your father is my friend, and during the time of Tuesday Club in Edsa, Shangri-La, at kilala ko po kayo and paano ka naging ganyan. So yung tanong niyo po kasi, yung gap, hindi po problema yan. Kahit mag-stop ka ng 1 year, 2 years, hindi po problema yung age. Kahit ako po, naging ininiero po ako, may gap din ako because of poverty. Pero okay lang po yun, nagsikap ako. Hindi po natin pwedeng i-gamble yung mga bata ngayon with this kind of situation. This is force majeure. This is act of God. Wala tayong magagawa. Sino ang against education? Education is our passport. Education is everything in our life. Without education, we are not here. So ako po, since this pandemic, we are planning to shift from hybrid system education. And I agree that learning should continue other alternative to deliver other matters and modalities in our society, especially in education. We have this blending learning, kung saan pinagsama-sama natin yung internet, digital, television, media, and radio broadcast. Pero mayroon ding kasing sitwasyon sa DepEd na lalo na sa online, yung platform designed to give teachers and students access to online review, materials, and open educational resources. Nariyan po, Sito, yung sitwasyon na kung saan ang TV at radio ay sa mga remote na barangays hindi natin kaya. Nakalatag po yan ang sitwasyon na yan sa DepEd. And since distance education is an entirely new experience, uncharted territory, siguro, Sito, we can adopt the best practice kung saan yung ibang bansa ginagawa nila. Yung to provide long-distance learning solutions. Kung anong bansa pwedeng nagagawa yun, pwede rin natin gawin, I think. Ang nakikita ko lang problema is yung talagang yung online learning system talaga mahirap po ngayon. Well, I'm not against of that. Importante kasi wag lang yung face-to-face. Tama po. Tama po si Pangulong Duterte. I agree 100% to President Duterte. wala mo nang pasok, maglaro muna yung mga bata. We can do a lot in our house. This is the time to have our family. And God is shaping up the world, shaping up the future, shaping up our country. Education, palagay ko, hindi po maiiwan yan. Ang importante, we have to save lives.
Matanong ko lang, Congressman Dong, no? I fully support you. I'm all 100% for a gap year. In fact, sasabihin ko nga po sa inyo, siguro ang hindi na papag-usapan itong mga community radios because there are existing companies with community radios. They have radio stations that are only operating within so many kilometers. Na if we created a network, pwede sa education. Pero may isang concern na mukhang hindi napapag-usapan both on private and the public. Paano raw po yung mga teachers at saka paano yung mga private schools? Because I understand and respect there are private school owners who are saying, if we don't get any support from government, 100% we will lose all our good teachers. They will either go to some other industry kasi kailangan nilang mabuhay, kailangan nilang kumain, and we will lose hundreds of millions in investments in this school facility. So, do you have solutions that will address those problems?
Well, your question is, I can answer that. Number one, sa mga public school teachers, I understand for our yearly budget, for the General Appropriation Act, our teaching and non-teaching staff, and these all public school teachers, kasama po yan yung sweldo nila sa General Appropriation Act. And may tinatawag po tayo sa budget that is the personal services of Department of Education. Nagpo-fall po yan every year. Sa private school naman po, alam mo naman po sa private school, hindi ka naman po papasok sa private school kung hindi ka mayaman. But still they are affected with this pandemic. Siyempre, ako magulang, mapasok yung anak ko sa Lasal, sa Ateneo, sa UAP, lahat ng mga private school na magaganda. Siyempre, as a parent, kung nakikipagtrabaho ako, siyempre 2 to 3 months hindi ako sumahod kung hindi ako nag-cash-advance sa kumpanya. Siyempre, one factor din po dyan is pera, kung paano tayo magbabayad ng tuition fee. May nagka-cash, may nag-i-installment, pero the bottom line is talagang hirap lahat tayo ngayon. So, number 2 is our safety. Yung safety, palagay ko po, yung salaries o income ng mga teachers, palagay ko, we can put that in the drawing board. We can talk to that. We can pencil push on that. So palagay ko, hindi mo mahirap yan. Sa lahat ng problema, may solusyon po yan. So, first things first, ayusin muna po natin ito maraming bata, medium bata, na sana lagay muna natin sa safe. Marami silang pwedeng gawin. So yung mga teachers po, palagay ko po, hindi mo mahirap yan sa private. Mayayaman po yung mga private school, yung mga estudyante dyan, may kaya po lahat. Palagay ko hindi problema. So in terms naman po sa mga bata na nasa bahay, kung halimbawa, January, magkakabakuna, edi bigyan lahat natin ng homework yung mga estudyanteng marami. And number 2, pwede nating turuan yan. Sabi nga ni Secretary Briones, magtanim tayo ng gulay para maging productive tayo. Turuan natin yung mga bata, habang nagtanim sila ng gulay, pwede silang mag-aral, pwede silang makipag-bonding sa pamilya. Palagay ko, this is the time. This is the time, Cito. No? So, I answered your question regarding this personnel from public and to private.
Okay, so pwedeng pag-usapan, pwedeng pag-aralan. So we will have to wait, and perhaps maybe even the private sector can submit proposals to your office para ma-address din yung mga concerns nila.
Yes, open tayo dyan, Cito. No? In fact, isa rin akong magulang para sa mga bata, nakikipag-communicate sa mga officers, sa public, sa Parents Teachers Association, palagi yung meeting, sa public, sa private, ganyan din po. I think we can discuss on that. We can
Okay.
have a proposal and we can tackle that on the Committee on Education.
Okay, thank you very much, Congressman Dong Gonzales, and please stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, sir.
Likewise, sir. Likewise, ito. God bless.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's God bless, and that's Congressman Aurelio Dong Gonzales, 3rd District of Pampanga. Now let's go to the city of Marikina, where we have on the line. He is not connected by video, but on the line we have Mayor Marcy Chodoro of the city of Marikina. I need to know, Mayor, nandiyan na po ba kayo?
Magandang umaga.
Good morning. Talaga napaka-busy mo. Ang hirap kang hulihin sa video o camera shy ka lang talaga.
Pasensya na dito at nasa labas palagi din.
Yes, sir. We understand, Mayor, and congratulations on the good things you are doing for Marikina. Yung mga constituents mo, mga kaibigan ko, ay nagsasabi na ang dami nyo nang nagagawa. Ang tanong ko lang, sir, ano ang pakiramdam ninyo dito sa proposal na mag-GCQ na tayo? Kayo po ba dyan sa Marikina, rock and roll na, ready to go, or medyo nag-aalanganin pa kayo?
May mga condition dapat tayo i-address kung mag-GCQ tayo dito. Isang nakikita kong malaking challenge yan, dapat meron tayong effective and resilient health delivery system. Ang virus naman, hindi na mawawala. Dito natin yung quarantine. Pero more importantly, how can we address this effectively and efficiently? Ako naniniwala, kailangan natin ng isang health delivery system, strong medical infrastructure para ma-address natin ito. Yung mga protocols kailangan i-place, lalo na sa mga industrial and manufacturing setting natin, sa mga commercial establishments, sa mga palengke, kung saan inaasahan natin ang tao mag-ikon ulit, magkakasama-sama. And there could be a transition that will occur pag nangyari ito. Kaya ako naniniwala ako na yung pag-iingat hindi dapat mawala at yung health, public health protocols dapat. Kaya ako dito, kinakausap ko ngayon yung konseho ko, bukas meron silang council session at legislate nila yung mga quarantine measures namin sa local.
Okay, so matanong ko lang one quick question, Mayor Marcy. Kung magtuloy-tuloy ang GCQ, kayo po ba ay magpapapasok na ng mga hindi tiga Marikina sa Marikina?
Gagawin na namin yan dahil kailangan na rin yung effectivity ng quarantine o ECQ ay hindi natin, talagang effective, hindi natin nasasabing effective yun. Pero yung viability nito, economically, talaga naman kailangan hindi ko viable. Ako dito, tinitignan ko yung aming yung epidemic curve namin, saka yung active cases. Meron kasing 167 COVID cases. Pero yung recovery namin, pag nilet mo o minus mo dun sa cases namin, lalabas na sa 56 na lang kami, below the 100 mark level na kami. Pag tinignan mo yun, yung data na yun, makikita mo na kami, viable na kami na mag-open up, pwede na. Pero syempre, yung mga protocol dapat mawala.
Okay.
Ngayon, nag-open kami last week ng mga industry. Pero lahat nag-operate agad Yung iba, tayo pa lang magbubukas dahil yung market wala pa Yung merkado na wala pa.
Okay.
Innovate, nagbabago sila ng marketing strategy. Lumilipat sila on the digital platform. Maraming mababago dito. So,
Okay.
palagay ko, talaga mag-open na tayo.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Marcy. Siguro mag-re-return of the comeback na lang ako sa iyo kasi medyo masama yung signal natin. But in any case, please stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and God bless you. Okay, that's Mayor Marcy Chudoro of the City of Marikina. Essentially, he has pointed out, the good mayor has pointed out that while they have cases of COVID-19, the recovery rate is so good or is so fast that it is almost self-canceling, or at least it gives a very hopeful picture, a very positive picture. And the economics, on the other hand, while quarantine has been very good, has been very useful for them, the economic viability is not sustainable, and therefore they will have to open up Marikina even to the people who are not Marikina residents, because yan po nagiging problema ngayon, mga kaibigan. We are getting too used, too familiar with quarantine, so much so that it has become a state of mind that in many parts of the country, there are local officials who just don't want to take any risks anymore, and understandably so. I mean, yesterday, our friend Richard Gomez was practically having a fit when he found out that OFWs were being sent to them in Ormoc, and they did not, according to him, get enough warning on the matter. But I think those things have cleared up. And as the president has pointed out, while he understands the concern of local officials, compassion and the right to travel must be respected. And speaking of which, let us now go to our next guest, because we will be talking about the right to travel and can we actually go places. We have with us Undersecretary Bong Bengzon of the Department of Tourism. Yusek, good morning.
Good morning, Cito. It's good to see you again, and good morning to all the televiewers.
Okay, nagpapasalamat ako. Nagkatotoo itong interview natin, because the last time I spoke with you, we were already talking about someday when things get better, let's talk about, things that can be done or what will be the protocol for tourism in the Philippines. Now, as I understand it, I read it on the Philippine Star this morning, that you have crafted guidelines. The Secretary, Berna Romulo Puyat, and her team has been crafting guidelines. What's the update, Yusek?
Well, correct. No, we just completed our guidelines on health and safety for accommodation establishments. And this is just going to be the first of many such guidelines that we will have to craft as we move to the new normal or to the next normal. So itong ginawa po naming guidelines on health and safety for accommodation establishments comes up with or defines the new protocols or the procedures, particularly do sa mga critical touch points. So for example, there will be a new set of procedures pagdating do sa pagpasok mo pa lang ng hotel, the security check, the health check. There will be a new set of protocols when you check in, where some hotels are talking about putting acrylic glass barriers, so there will be less contact between the guest and the front desk officer. Tapos syempre
parang yung mga bangko sa Amerika na meron silang bulletproof glass para for security, but in this case acrylic lang naman para walang hawahan.
Correct. So, yun, because that's a critical touch point. And then, pag check-out, we're encouraging, syempre, yung online payment. Another critical touch point is pagdating doon sa mga restaurants. So, kasama doon sa mga guidelines namin is that we are discouraging, at least in the meantime, discouraging self-service and buffet setups. So, what will happen is that, unang-una, you will see more yung packed meals, packed lunches, packed breakfasts. Yung distancing natin will have to be observed, and for the most part, ang capacity niya will be reduced by about 50%.
Yusek, let's explain that to our viewers lang, kasi marami akong kaibigan na talagang pagdating sa buffet, magkamatayan na tayo talagang mauuna sila, no? But ladies and gentlemen, there have been studies, and in fact, the NHK Japan, the National Broadcast Company of Japan, with I think the government did a study where they simulated the movements in a buffet setting, at meron silang sinimulate na mga taong kunyari may dalang virus or sakit. And after the dining, inilawan yung mga diners. I think there were 15 of them. And they discovered na nagkalat na po sa lahat ng mesa, utensil, sa parte ng mga tao. And so that is why you guys are discouraging or don't want to allow buffets in the hotels. And we just need to explain that. Kasi baka mamaya pagmumurahin na naman kayo ng mga timawang kaibigan ko sa buffet.
Hindi, ang kakalaruin lang natin, ang iniiwasan natin doon sa buffet is yung elbow to elbow na nakapila kayo.
Correct.
Hindi naman natin sinasabing ititigil yung eat all you can. No? Wala pa yung discussion doon. I think ang pinakamahalaga dito is yung distancing in the outlets or the dining areas, no, in the hotel.
Well,
So,
napapag-usapan na Yusek, I think you guys should watch that video of the NHK, because after I saw that, that was the end for me for eat all you can. That's the end for me for buffet. Kasi tama kayo, no? Yung mga elbow to elbow, pag umubo, bumahing, pero yung mga kumisan kasi kakain, tapos sinasawsaw yung kanilang kubyertos, as one of the reasons why you remember that family in Wuhan, 8 of them all got sick because they shared in a hot pot meal. Akala mo, hot pot, patay lahat ng mikrobyo, yung pala sila ang madadali. In any case, please continue, Yusek.
Binanggit mo na rin yung sharing, no? Kasi doon sa guidelines namin, that's explicitly stated. No sharing of food. No sharing of food. Kasi nga, dyan nag-uumpisa yung hawaan, eh, no? Another critical touch point is doon sa kwarto, no? Sa guest room. So, under the guidelines, we're only allowing a maximum of 2 per room, maximum occupancy yan. No? Of course, ideally, it should be single occupancy. There will be separate trash bins for your usual garbage and then for your PPE, because we expect that more guests, no, will be bringing their own PPEs, and you'll have to have a separate trash bin to dispose of it. No? Yung nakasanayan natin na daily replacement of the sheets or the linen, no? Hindi na magiging mandatory yun. So these are just examples of the guidelines.
Paano, Yusek, what about, kasi I'm sorry, no, it's personal, I know, but I think I represent a number of families. What about us who has one daughter and gusto namin mag-joiner na lang kasi, meaning families lang, yung ba parents and immediate children, na sama-sama kami kasi ayaw naming ipapadala sa ibang kwarto, baka mahawa pa kung kanino.
Doon sa guidelines namin, I'm glad that you brought it up, no? Kasi doon sa guidelines, we're very sensitive also. Nakalagay doon sa guidelines, pag pamilya pwede. Pwedeng sama-sama. Pero, as much as possible, you want to keep it to a maximum of double or twin occupancy. But, of course, pag pamilya mo yan, sama mo yung anak, hindi naman pwede maghiwalay na yung dalawa doon sa isang kwarto, tapos yung isa, nag-iisa doon sa kabilang kwarto. So, we took note of that also.
Okay.
So these are just examples of the guidelines that we've crafted for accommodation facilities. Gagawa rin kami or ginagawa na namin ngayon yung guidelines din para do sa mga convention organizers. So there will be a set of protocols. Ganun din basically distancing, setting limits as to the number of guests, no, or delegates in a room, no. And the idea behind it is just to prepare both the traveler, no, at saka yung host community for the new normal.
What about the traveling aspect by itself? Kasi right now, I don't know. First of all, I know that the DOT has done such a remarkable job. Yung mga sweeper flights nyo, getting the foreign stranded tourists out of the Philippines. Pero marami tayong mga kaibigan na stranded tourists, Filipino tourists in the Philippines. So number one, to be done about that. But number two, what about the traveling of Filipinos? Assuming sa GCQ ba, napag-usapan na kung papayagan nyo na kaming bumiyahe? Like let's say, ako gusto kong pumunta doon sa farm namin sa Lipa, or marami akong kaibigan who want to go to the beach. I don't know about your friends, but I think the biggest number are people who want to go to the beach. Paano na yon?
Well, yung relaxation of sa travel will come when we get to the modified GCQ stage. Pero ang instruction ni Secretary Puyat ngayon is to come up already with a project that will jumpstart tourism in selected destinations. And ano ito yung mga selected destinations? Obviously, ito yung mga either walang incidents or walang kaso ng COVID or yung mababa. So we're now developing concepts with respect to coming up with tourism circuits or clusters, or some people call it tourism bubbles, some people call it green corridors. But essentially, the idea here is to initially stimulate movement within areas that are clear, that are safe and secure.
Yeah.
And may mga island destinations na kami na identify initially, and we see that we expect that this will probably kick off yung domestic travel.
Okay, hypothetical na lang kasi I don't want to put you in a spot. But kasi right now there are people who have been telling us and sharing on Facebook, napakahirap makalabas lang ng Metro Manila. Now, are we going to make this point-to-point tourism? Meaning, okay, Yusek, I want to go to Boracay. Kailangan ba ng magpa-rapid testing? Magpaparehistro ba sa DOT? What is the process for me to get to, let's say, example lang, let's say Boracay?
Well, yan yung that's the concept that we're looking at, yung point to point. But the assumption there is that both points, point A and point B, are clear. Are clear of COVID, because it cannot be that yung point A meron kang incidents, ililipat mo lang doon sa point B. So when we talk about destinations, it doesn't even have to be in and out of Manila. It can be between 2 points in the provinces. Or even before you do the point-to-point traffic, you can contain it intra-province. So for example, kung mababang incidents mo sa Bohol, what you can do is you can encourage the Boholanos to move around Bohol, Pagbilaran to Panglao, to Carmen, para mag-umpisa na yung mga tourism activities. Because at the end of it all, what is most important is not really the movement of tourists per se, but it's really bringing tourism livelihood, especially at the community level. Because what we want is to help these people get back on their feet, magkaroon ng hanap buhay. Sabi nga kanina, I was listening to you earlier, you have to achieve an optimum balance between containing the situation while at the same time making sure that there's livelihood, especially at the community level.
Okay, so what will happen is, what will happen is, let's say, doon sa Panay, sila muna. Dito sa Metro Manila, kami muna. Until such a time when we can almost say with certainty na people living in Pasig, for instance, don't have COVID, so they will now be allowed to maybe go to Calabar zone. So, localized muna. Very, very localized tourism.
Localized, and then it will be gradual, because you also have to bring, to restore the confidence level of the travelers. Mag-umpisa yan short distances, and for us, mga taga Manila, ano muna yan, land or surface travel. It will be point to point, and nakikita namin people will opt for the outdoor activities. Number one na yung beaches, pero yan din na kailangan natin bantayan, because everybody wants to go to the beach. We have to make sure that there's carrying capacity, guidelines, at saka to make sure that the social protocol, the distancing protocols are still followed.
You know, when all of this started, may sinuggest ako kay Secretary Bernab, akala yata niya, nakainom ako eh. I was saying that, beaches, let's measure them 10 feet apart, points 10 feet apart or more, and then mark the entire beach area para masisiguro natin na hindi mangyari dito yung nangyari sa Florida, nangyari sa ibang states na talagang dumagsa ang tao. The idea is to graph and mark the beaches and all these public areas. Was that ever part of your conversation?
That's being considered kasi that concept is not confined just to the beach areas. No, we've seen similar applications in parks, for example, in other parts of the world na binilugan mo yung damo, binilugan mo ng kulay puti at doon lang yung mga yung isang turista or dalawang turista. So the concept I think is very interesting and workable, and certainly something that we will consider when we resume our tourism activities, especially doon sa mga outdoor destinations.
Okay, now last question na lang kasi I'm sure there are a lot of kids who have been nagging their parents, I want to go to Enchanted Kingdom, I want to go to this park or that park. Are they going to be allowed to open yung mga water parks especially, are they going to be allowed to open given the proximity of people?
Well, yung sa wala pa kasi kaming guidelines, so I cannot answer that right now. But maybe just to relate sa similar situation pagdating do sa mga pools at saka sa gym sa mga hotels, because we've come up already with the guidelines, as I said. The guidelines say that pwede mag-operate, but the hotels will have to come up with very stringent guidelines when they start opening up these facilities. So siguro I would venture a guess that when we do our guidelines for theme parks, then the same stringent measures will have to be followed.
Okay, any dates on the table? Last question ko na yun sa'yo. Any dates? Or, kahit guesstimate lang, are we talking mid-June or end June? Ang beginning ng ating exodus?
Well, of course, we defer to the interagency task force, but the sooner that we can open it up, the better. No? Personally, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that by June we'll see some easing up already of the restrictions, so that we can start again bringing back livelihood, which is really the most important part of it.
Okay, well, we do hope that we get to see point-to-point tourism and localized tourism in the country. Thank you very much, as usual, for being so helpful, informative, Yusek Bong Bengson.
Salamat, Cito, and stay safe.
Okay, stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong. That's Yusek Bong Bengson of the Department of Tourism. At we will go for a quick break, and when we come back, continuing on our program here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on Agenda. You are watching us on Signal TV, channels 8 and 250, as well as One News PH, Facebook page, and of course, YouTube. And we do ask you to please share the program with others and help us get the positive news out there. And next, let's go to the Edsa SAR, traffic SAR. He's now going to be facing lots of headaches. Let's talk to Colonel Edison Bong Nebrija. Colonel Bong, are you there? Okay, we seem to be having problems with that, but of course it's expected this time of the day. we always have that slight glitch because a lot of you have suddenly turned on your devices, or your children are up and have turned on their devices and are eating up the distribution or whatever internet is out there. But fortunately for me, I've got PLDT fiber internet, and so we seem to be having such a good delivery. And we will see if Colonel Bong is there already. We will find out later. But the meantime, we do hope that the DOT, the IATF, will be able to figure out this movement of people, kasi po marami ng mga medyo nagtatampo na sa mga kababayan natin, lalong-lalo na yung mga farm owners. There are many of us here in Metro Manila who own farms, who have either weekend farms, actual vegetable farms. They have farm lots that are real businesses, and they are having such difficulty getting permits because from what I understand, I've never really tried it because I just felt that I should sit it out here in Metro Manila, and since I have my caretaker in the farm, it would be all right. Sa amin naman po, ilang baboy lang at manok, so walang problema. But for others, it seems that some of the requirements are kailangan mong kumuha ng health certificate, and then you have to, well, first you have to apply with the barangay, and then the barangay will conduct a health check or a test, and then issue you a health certificate, issue you a pass of some sort, and then you have to contact your other end of the other end. Let's say in my case it would be Lipa. I would then have to call the barangay captain, if not the mayor's office, requesting that I be allowed to go to the farm. Last time I talked to Mayor Africa of Lipa, sabi niya, pag uuwi ang tao din sa Lipa, kailangan mamalagi ng 14 na araw para sa quarantine. So that's why I brought up that issue, or that idea with the Yusek Bong Bengzon about point to point. Because there are people and businesses where the staff, the owner, the person involved can go from point A to point B, not stopping anywhere, and they don't have any engagement or interaction with the local community. It's only just in the place of business. Kumbaga, parang pumunta ka Manila to Subic, although in Subic, they've really shut it down. They don't want to get people from outside. If I'm a business owner in Subic, baka, I'm not sure. Maybe we can ask Ami Esma about that. But the idea is from point to point, you leave your office in Manila or your residence in Manila, and you go to the other destination and you stay there, and you can come back without having to undergo quarantine. I don't know if the IATF can figure that out, but we will see what can be done about that. In the meantime, let's check on Colonel Edison Bong Nebrija of the MMDA. There we go. Colonel Bong, good morning, brother.
Good morning, Brother Cito, and good morning to all your followers.
Okay, it's going to be an interesting time for you in a couple of weeks. Are you looking forward to it? God willing na ma-GCQ na tayo.
Well, Cito, we've been talking about it, and yes, we've been planning about on how to implement this. However, we haven't received the final go signal yet. Actually, today, the Metro Manila Council will be meeting so that once and for all, we could finalize preparations for the incoming GCQ or modified GCQ, whichever situation will be implemented.
Okay, from what I've read in the papers, the MMC already agreed. 14 out of 17 have agreed that we should go to GCQ. Yung meeting tonight, which is virtual, will only be about crafting the statement for the IATF. Is that correct?
Yes, Cito, I just don't know if there will be still more issues to be discussed other than that. But yes, that will be the primary agenda. And with regards to the transport itself, the lead agency on this is the OTR. We've been sitting down with them on what their plans would be for public transportation. And the last time that we talked, it's the single bus route on EDSA, reducing the 96 bus routes all over Manila to 29, and single bus route on EDSA. So that is something new for all of us. I mean, even for the traffic and transport management agencies of the government, and most especially to all the commuters who got used to different bus stops in along EDSA, and this will totally change. And they will be seeing a lot more buses than public utility jeepneys.
Okay, now Colonel Bong, here's the question. Okay, pag nag-GCQ na sa Metro Manila or sa NCR, does that mean anybody and everybody can go on EDSA, wala nang checkpoints? Because right now the I don't know, do we still have Colonel Bong there? Or okay, there. Okay, let me repeat the question, Colonel Bong. Under GCQ, someone is okay. Under GCQ, can everybody go on EDSA or still quarantine pa status pa rin tayo?
Well, when we ease up to GCQ, that means well, most of the businesses will be open already. Most companies will be open already. Public transport will be back on the road. So uh, what I'm hearing is a targeted lockdown or isolations to some barangays, but
Hmm.
not definitely not everybody anymore. So just like right now, the MECQ, we had a hard time checking on checkpoints, because primarily because there are more authorized persons outside residences than the unauthorized ones. And
Yeah.
if we will be transitioning to GCQ, then there will be more people who are authorized to go outside the residences than the unauthorized ones. So basically, what we're talking about, the unauthorized ones maybe are those who are critically ill. I mean, not critically ill. Those who have pre-existing conditions, minors, even well, senior citizens who are not working anyway. So those are the people who will not be allowed unless they will get they will go to the hospital or something like that.
So at the end of the day, almost every. But the question is, are you afraid? Because when we did MECQ, there was horrendous traffic on EDSA, and the justification was hindi kasi nagche-checkpoint lang, hindi naman matraffic, nagche-checkpoint lang. Would it be safe to assume that under GCQ, we won't experience the same bumper to bumper Carmageddon?
Well, not on EDSA, Cito. When we had that bad experience on a Saturday when we transitioned to MECQ, and the checkpoints were overwhelmed by so many vehicles. So the next day, we lifted the checkpoints already on EDSA. And
Mm.
until now, we're trying to look at how can we strategize to put it in a better position so that we will not experience that again. So it will be a lot worse if we would set up a checkpoint on a GCQ, because just like what I said a while ago, there will be more people authorized to go out of their
Yeah.
residences because of their work. So I think this will remain, that there will be no more checkpoints on EDSA. HPG is implementing right now what we call the modified checkpoint, wherein it's only motorcycle riders who are going to check randomly on vehicles, and they will pull them over and check if they're authorized or not. So maybe it will still be different during the GCQ, but really this is something new for all of us, and us in the government are also trying to you know cope up with the situation and adjust our strategies to to address the problem.
Yeah, I don't want to put you in the spot, Colonel Bong, because I know it's not your jurisdiction. I'm just raising it to you, bringing it to your attention because you sit in those meetings with the HPG and the MMC. Ngayon, kasi there, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, many Filipinos, when we went to MECQ in NCR, many people here started using motorcycles, seeing the benefits of a bicycle, and even people like you and me, many of us have started to think maybe I should stop using my car and start getting on the bicycle or buying a motorcycle because it is more environmentally friendly, it takes up less space, and it is efficient. Now, but if we are going to continue with the old order protocol of checking on motorcycles, parang nasi-single out sila, uh, isn't that working against a new normal where Filipinos will now be going on motorcycles instead of blocking up EDSA with cars?
Yes, Tito. Well, actually, these checkpoints will definitely take into a new phase as well. And just like what I said, I think they're strategizing in a way to lessen the build up on checkpoints
Mhm.
because many of our kababayans are also being delayed
Yeah.
by the checkpoint. Not only those who are going to work, but even our frontliners and even emergency responders. I showed this to one of my videos before that it's real. I mean, it's we cannot select those who will be delayed and not. We try to
Mhm.
put up a special lanes for frontliners and emergency responders, but that too are being clogged by the checkpoints and undisciplined motorists who keeps on going to that space and where in fact they're not frontliners. So that's really a challenge, and so as not to repeat these mistakes, I think there will be easing up on checkpoints, and I think the rapid pass that has been issued by IETF, this will be the primary check that we will be doing if you have it or not. So if you don't, then probably you'll be allowed to go on.
Okay, now you might have noticed the video we were playing kasi no isang araw tuwan-tuwa na ako pero ine-excite mo lang pala ako, yung pala hindi pala bicycle lane yun. You guys put up all of these cones on the EDSA and I said, "Wow, finally the MMDA is putting a bicycle lane."
I'm sorry, Sito, I lost you there.
Yeah.
What's your question again, please?
The other day, social media was full of these videos of this bicycle lane you put up on EDSA. Okay, I think we are having problems with Colonel Bong regarding connection here. Let's go. Unfortunately, I don't think we can make that connection. We really wanted to find out more about those bicycling. If you're one of those who got that video of a bicycle lane where they put up cones on EDSA, apparently, it's just from Katipunan Avenue, EDSA, all the to Boni Serrano because of World Bicycle Day on June 3. So hindi po pala yun actual attempt to establish a bicycle lane on EDSA. But I do hope that Senator Pia Cayetano will pick up on that and do something about it because it's about time we got more bikes and a protected motorcycle lane on EDSA, hindi yung hati-hati. Okay, let's go to our associate Dale De Vera of News 5. He's our correspondent at News 5. Dale, good morning.
Good morning, Cito.
I love the shirt. Really
Thank you.
colorful and uplifting. Gandang may makitang kulay kasi nakaka-depress na itong COVID-19 na ito. You look good. Anyway, you watched the exodus of OFWs from quarantine stations and leaving Metro Manila. What was it like?
Cito, it was full of emotions, actually mixed emotions for many OFWs. many are excited to go home and to be reunited again with their families, while some OFWs actually are kind of a bit sad knowing that there are colleagues who will be left behind, since um, there are still people or OFWs who are yet to receive their PCR test results. So
Mhm.
with that case, some sort of hindi pa sila makakaalis from the quarantine facility unless they are given that negative result.
Okay, do you have any idea how many were left behind? I mean, not specific numbers, pero malaking grupo pa ba yun naiwan o konti na lang kanya lalong mas malungkot?
Sito, based doon sa conversation natin with OWA Administrator Hans Kakdak yesterday, the latest figure that he has is at least 17,500 yung na-test na. Yung may result na ng PCR test. So that's actually 17,000, at least 17,000 na pwede nang umuwi. O,
Okay.
kung i-base natin doon sa pronouncements ng Palasyo ng Malacanang, there are at least 24,000 na gustong pauwiin ng Palasyo.
Okay, now, ano ang sabi ni Hans Kakdak regarding the repatriates? Because I heard and I know for a fact that after they leave Manila, when they reach the provinces, they have to undergo another 14 days of quarantine. Parang, hello, isang buwan na silang nasa quarantine, na-test na sila, pagkatapos meron na namang second quarantine. And is Malacanang saying anything about it?
Dun sa kay Pangulo last night, he appealed to LGUs na papasukin na itong mga OFWs. And same with what OWA Administrator Hans Kakdak said yesterday, na kumbaga nakikiusap sila sa LGUs na papasukin na, wag nang harangin or dalhin pa sa ibang sa isa pang quarantine facilities, kasi yung iba dyan more than a month na nasa quarantine facilities. And yun nga ang point ni Administrator Kakdak is magdodoble gastos kung itetest pa ulit. Sayang yung magiging yung test kits na gagamitin na pwede namang gamitin na sa iba, kasi nag-yield naman na ng negative results itong mga OFWs na uuwi. Plus the fact na itong plano daw ng LGUs, kasi na pagko-quarantine pa or isolation nitong mga uuwing OFWs, sa OWA pa rin nila papagastusin. So magiging problem pa rin yung funding, kasi kumbaga at this point medyo na uubos na yung pondo ng OWA, even the budget na ilalaan naman ng OWA for the reintegration after the repatriation program.
What was it like? I suppose you've been checking your sources, kasi parang ilan bang eroplano ang kukunin, ilang barko ang kukunin, I mean, 17,000, may balanse pa tayo na 7,000. Parang ang hirap isipin, how do you repatriate 17,000 OFWs? Most of them are headed where?
At least half of the 17,000, sabi ni Administrator Kakdak, is within Luzon lang. So karamihan buses or ships or ferries. Pero based doon sa binigay na figures kahapon, there are at least 17 sweeper chartered flights yesterday. Ngayon, I think there are 9 sweeper flights. And then 4 to-go ships na maglalayag within this week. Kumbaga papunta ng Visayas and Mindanao.
Okay, from what I understand, the charter flights or sweeper flights, ang magbabayad local government. Totoo ba yun? Kasi naging issue yan, if you are aware of it. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. Meron ng isang mayor na medyo nabanatan sa social media kasi nangako siya magpapadala siya ng isang eroplano, pagkatapos naghintay sa tralala raw yung mga OFW. But I don't know if she was able to deliver. But are these sweeper flights paid for by the mayors?
No, Sito. All the repatriation funds or costing will be shouldered by the OWA. So which Administrator Hans Kakdak said will cost at least 20 million pesos per day. Reason
Aha.
why medyo kinakabahan sila, or medyo they're pushing for Congress na dagdagan yung budget nila kasi nga medyo nagde-deplete na rin siya.
You know, we've been trying to get Hans Kakdak on the show. I think he's so busy because of this repatriation. Pero we wanted to clarify that because maraming mga OFW ang nagsasabi billion piso ang pera ng OWA. Bakit sila ninenervyos sa 20 million a day na let's say it goes on for 7 days? But why is the OWA worried and asking for more money if they have so much money?
Let me clear that out. Yung 20 million pesos a day is only Kakdak is only referring to the repatriation na gagawin this week. Iba yung
20
cost
million, 20 million.
Yes, 20 million.
Okay.
Iba yung cost noong pagpapauwi pa ng mga Filipinos from abroad. Kumbaga, ang explanation kasi ni Admin Kakdak yesterday is hindi naman sa nabigla sila kasi usual program naman ng OWA ang pagpapauwi ng OFW. Ito lang, sobrang dami. And they are still expecting at least 45,000 OFWs na darating from between May and June. Kumbaga
Okay.
parang, and kaya sila medyo kumbaga tinitingnan din yung budget is importante for them yung reintegration program na i-implement nila after. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng basta iuwi lang yung OFWs sa kanilang family without giving them something to help them recover.
Alam mo, Dale, mabuti pa siguro maghasa ka na ng Economics 101 mo at saka Mathematics 11 mo because right now you're only covering the repatriation. But in a few months from now, I guess your assignment will require you to come up with an analysis on OFWs losing their jobs abroad and coming home. Eh baka biglang maging economics analyst ka na, my friend.
Malapit-lapit na, Cito.
Okay, thank you very much, Dale. Please stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and thank you for joining us this morning, giving us an update on that. And God bless you, Dale.
Thank you, Cito.
Okay, that's Dale De Vera, our News 5 correspondent who covered the repatriation of OFWs from NCR to the provinces and to parts of Luzon. Now, while I was trying to kid around with Dale, I need to point out the fact that in a few months, I think one of our biggest headaches will be the return of the OFWs, the decrease in income of Filipino workers, the decrease in the fund transfers from abroad, etc., etc. This problem with COVID-19 is not just about surviving the virus, it will also be about surviving the aftermath of COVID-19, or as my friend Andrew Masigan loves to call it, the China virus. So what are we going to do? That remains to be seen. Let's all pray. We can, the best for now is to please stay safe, stay home, stay strong, stay healthy, and please, whatever you do, make sure that you do your prayers. Because at the end of the day, prayers give you hope, prayers give you someone to reach out to, and prayers do work. And I can tell you they do because I have had quite a number of answered prayers this past few weeks, and I hope you have the same. Thank you for joining us here on Agenda. God bless all of you, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you.